Hey ghouls, welcome back to Freaky Flick Friday. Here's a list of the horror movies releasing for the second week of August, where you can watch them. So let's talk horror. Releasing on the 8th in theaters and video on demand is Birthright. A pregnant woman inherits a home from her estranged aunt, so her and her girlfriend leave the city in order to get a fresh start. As they're settling into the seemingly quiet town, a curse that is attached to their home is looking to claim their firstborn. Releasing on the 8th in limited theaters and video on demand is Shaman. A missionary family travels to rural Ecuador to convert the indigenous population to their Catholic ways. As their son ventures out into a local cave, bringing back a demonic friend, Candace believes that a good old exorcism from the Catholic Church will do the job. But the local shamans know a little bit more than she does and know that this spirit is older than religion and that just ain't gonna cut it. Releasing on the 8th in theaters is Strange Harvest. This found footage follows detectives as they are hunting down Mr. Smiley, a serial killer whose return marks the new wave of grotesque and cult-like crimes. Releasing in theaters on the 8th is Weapons. When all of the children but one vanish in the middle of the night, the town goes into a frenzy trying to figure out what happened to the children and who is behind it. Also releasing on the 8th in limited theaters is Dice Reloaded. This is set in Seattle in 1987 when notorious killer Benny escapes from an asylum on Halloween night, scaring the city of Seattle in his scarecrow mask rampage. Releasing on video on demand on the 8th is The Descendant. Set in present-day LA, after suffering a traumatic brain injury from a fall from the roof, John gets plagued with haunting visions of extraterrestrials and now has a newfound talent for drawing. The soon-to-be father becomes obsessed with figuring out what is reality and the need to protect his family. Releasing on the 12th on video on demand is No More Tears in Hell. This is set in Alaska during winter time, where a mother and son turn their home into a house of horrors, luring their victims into a twisted web of abuse and cannibalism. Releasing on video on demand on the 12th is Fear Cabin, the last weekend of summer. 6 friends decide to rent a cabin in the middle of the woods during the last weekend of summer. What is supposed to be a time full of partying and drinking gets interrupted when a mysterious stranger shows up and they have to share the cabin with them, making them question whether or not they're going to make it out alive. And those are the horror movies releasing for the second week of August. Like always, I'll have the full list over on my Letterboxd for you to check out. Be sure to check out my Freaky Flick Friday playlist for any horror movie releases that you may have missed. And I'll be back next week with all new horror movies that are releasing. But until then, stay gruesome, ghouls.